What's going on, everybody? This is Nick Fox here. In this video, I'll be covering my main charting platform, which is going to be through TradingView.com. Over the past 5 years, this has been one of the biggest difference makers in my own trading, is doing 100% of my market analysis through TradingView.com. I'll be talking about the appearance of my charts, how to clean up a lot of the noise that's thrown your way, and how to utilize all the main and primary tools to bring a massive amount of efficiency into your overall trading down the long run. So let's get right on into it. When you first come onto TradingView.com, it can be quite overwhelming. There's so many things that draw your attention, so many numbers, tools, objects, little side forums, areas to look at, but most of this stuff you won't even use. Let me help you narrow your focus down now. When you go to the Products tab, in order to access the charts, right, lo and behold, is the Chart button. You'll click the Chart button, and you'll immediately be escorted right to the charts here. So yours is going to be looking a lot different from mine. So to get it that way, you'll right click a empty area space and hit the settings button. This little gear button will allow you to customize any aspect of your chart that you wish. So we'll click that, and pertaining to the body, borders, and wicks, that is dealing with this type of chart here. I'm personally utilizing a Japanese candlestick chart. To access the Japanese candlestick chart, you'll go to these little areas right here, candles, and this will show you the type of chart you want to look at. I also have started the line chart. So in this example, I'm looking at a line chart and going back to the candlestick chart here. So back to the settings, I have my business's colors, powdered blue, and a nice little light gray. The borders and wicks I have as all black. Last price line is checked, so you can just copy and paste. You can pause the video for a second if you want and duplicate what I have here. Status line, the only things I have checked here is the symbol, open market status, indicator titles showing me if I have indicators here. If you look at the top left hand corner, these will be my indicators. When I have that checked off, it'll eliminate that. When I have it checked on, it shows me any indicators that I want to use and the values of the indicators as well. So that's for the status line. Scales doesn't really matter too much. I think on the default settings, they have this checked on. I had checked it off. For the appearance, in the default settings, you'll have grid lines on here. So in this example, they might look something like this. And it just creates a whole lot of noise. So I have this on white, and I have the opacity on as well. So it will create this nice little translucent color. And the only thing that I can see is the Japanese candlesticks and my own annotations, which is the only thing that you should be focused on. Not grid lines, and that's just deals with the noise that's thrown your way. Grid lines and a lot of the other things on TradingView. Trading, this is primarily for if you want to trade through TradingView. For me, I do my executing of trades on MetaTrader 4, the app that you've probably already heard before, and I do 100% of my analysis, not trading, but market analysis on TradingView.com. And that's what this section's here for. Events, that deals with news events. I don't use that. It's usually checked on. I checked it off. I use websites like forexfactory.com and dailyfx.com to see high impact news events that could be affecting the market. And that deals with the appearance. After that, you should have something that looks just like this. I also, if you right click here, I have color themes, and I have my main one on here, the one that I used to use. I also have the black and blue, and then I have my main one, which is prime time. So that's that. Now let's make a toolbar here. My toolbar is what I use to primarily annotate the charts here. We have arrows, we have ellipses, so many different things that you can use, and I'll show you how to do that. So that's going to be dealing with this vertical bar right here. First is going to be the crosshair. I use personally the dot right now, and I also have the crosshair right here. I'll just put on the dot, and that just shows you what you want your cursor to look like. Every time that you star something on here, it will appear in this toolbar. So if I unstar this, if you turn your attention right here, it will take it off. When I star it on, it will turn it on. Pertaining to all of these things here, none of these aligns with my strategy other than the Fibonacci retracement tool. And this is what it's going to be looking like here. And if you want to see the actual settings of this, let me show you real quick. Because the default settings looks like a big rainbow. For my personal strategy, I have these checked on right here. No trend line, that'll show this little trend line here. I have that checked off. The background of it, I have it all turned off. And I have all of my levels here. And you can duplicate this as you like. Pause the video if you want. Prices, levels, and have this on percentages instead of values. These will turn into percentages. Cool? Cool. Coordinates, you don't need to know that. And visibility, you don't need to know that. Just the style. Okay? Okay. So the only thing I use here is Fibonacci. All this other stuff is just noise that I don't use. Highlighter. This is what it'll look like if I want to highlight little different areas. It also looks like that. I have the rectangle, which you just saw, where I create my market zones and my ellipses right here. Next is my annotation tools, which is text. If I want to put maybe an entry point here, things that I can just use to clear up and understand market moves. And these can be used in any way that you want. So let's say I want to call this out for a wick. I'll just type in wick and it'll look something like this. And again, if you want to customize this, anytime that you click these areas, you'll have a own little toolbar where you can customize the opacity, customize the color of the text, the size of the text, another gearbox again, if you want to make it bold, italicized, whatever you want, you can. It's completely customizable to your needs, and you'll have that double toolbar, which will be the starred tools, and then anytime that you click the specific object will appear its own little toolbar. Next up, all of these little things right here, I don't use any of them. Again, it's just a bunch of noise that you want to use. There's a million different ways to trade, and you just need to see which tools work for you. I'm just showing you my perspective on the market. These are little icons. I have never used these before in any time that I've traded this specific area. We have the long position starred, short position starred, as well as the price range starred. The function that the long position tool serves is calculating the risk to reward on a buy position. So let's say, for example, price came at this level here. I would start the trade by putting on this tool and calculating wherever I want it to go. So let's say I wanted to exit the trade right here in the event that the trade went into profit. And let's say I wanted to exit the trade down here in the event that the trade goes against me. What this price tool describes is the risk to reward ratio of the trade, the end point. If the trade goes against you, this would be your stop loss, and this would be your final profit target. So you can see here at the top here, it shows about 35 pips in profit and 7 pips as your stop loss. And the risk to reward for this trade would be 5-to-1, meaning you could be making 5 times more than you could be losing on this specific trade. And any optimal risk to reward for any trade that I take is at least minimum 3-to-1. And the opposite goes for a short position. I will click where I want the trade to start, and it will show this barrier here, that black line in the middle. And let's say I want to, in the event that the trade goes against me, I'll have a 8 pip stop loss, and I would want to exit the trade down here for a 33 pip take profit. And the risk to reward that creates is 4.23 to 1, meaning I could be making 4.23 times more than I could be losing. With the price range, that measures any area of the chart that you want. So let's say I want to measure this bar to this bar. I'll click this, put it up here, and I'll stop the measurement tool where I want it to end. And what this measures is the pips here, and the percentage and the points. I usually just use it for just the pips, and that would be a 43 pip move from the point where it starts to the point where it ends. You have your measurement tool, which is where you can measure any specific area of the market. So let's say I want to measure this candlestick right here. I'll start with the end of the candlestick and measure the top of the candlestick. So on here, when I click that, it'll show me the pips, 34.5 pips, the percentage it rose, the points in that, how many bars it took up, how much time it took up, and the volume of that specific bar right here. If I want to delete everything, I could remove all the drawings. And if I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that, I didn't mean to do that, you can click this undo button and they will come all right back. So that deals with our toolbar. Now I'm also looking at these charts from a specific time frame. Let's delete all these right here real quick. I'm looking at this from the 15-minute time frame on the euro to the Australian dollar chart on the FXCM platform, all over here on TradingView. To observe your specific time frames, you'll look up here. The 15-minute means I'm looking at this from a 15-minute perspective. Each and every one of these singular bars equals 15 minutes of time. To observe the time frames, you'll click this little drop-down arrow here, and you'll see, once again, each and every one of these is starred. Every time that I start these, it will show me them up here. So I have the monthly starred, I have the weekly starred, I have the daily starred, 8 hour, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, and the 5 minute. And we'll throw in the 30 minute because that's part of my strategy as well. You can even go to the seconds if you wanted to, and you can even add new time frames that you want. So let's say I want to add a 6 hour time frame. I'll hit the 6 hours and we'll add that in. There are specific things that you need to be paying for, like the replay chart for back testing. I know that primarily is a premium feature, but that is the time frame. If I want to go to the weekly, I'll click the weekly, and now I have all my starred time frames up here as well. Pertaining to the watch list that I use, if you want to create a watch list, you'll just hit the add symbol button. And let's say I want to add the Euro NZD pair. So I'll hit FXCM, and you're probably wondering, there's FXCM, there's Oando, there's forex.com, there's Pepperstone. Which one do I use? My answer is stick with one specific provider. For me, I'm primarily using FXCM unless it's not provided anywhere else. Like for example, XAU USD over here, it's only provided by primarily Oando and maybe like 2 other sites. I'm using Oando for gold right here. So I'm going to add that to my watch list, and it'll pop up right here, and you can maneuver them as well. You're wondering how I created the forex, commodities, and indices tab. What I'm doing here is right-clicking the top of the entity right here, hitting add section, clicking the section, and then typing in forex. Once I enter that in, it'll create a category for me. But I want to separate maybe my commodities. So I'll right click gold right here, hit add section, and then type in commodities. And the same will go for indices as well. And then I have my other charts like the dollar currency index chart, and for cryptocurrency, at times I will look at the Bitcoin chart as well. And that's how you create your watch list. Now there's other features like publishing your charts, Let's say you want to copy and paste the chart, you can hit the snapshot, copy your chart anywhere you want. I have other chart layouts here, as you already seen before, and you can even publish them to the TradingView platform. That is how I create my charts and how I approach the charts from an appearance standpoint. If you want to back test, that's a big part of this. In practicing, you'll just hit the replay button. Again, this is a paid feature. And let's say I want to go back to December 14th. I'll click that and then I'll be able to practice. So let's say I want to create a zone here and I want to see my reaction off this zone, this little practice tool for me. Then I'll just hit the forward button and we're on the 1 weekly time frame. Let's go to the 4 hour, where each and every one of these bars are, and I can speed time up and see how price will react to it. And this is a back testing, practicing tool for you. If you want to go to the chart settings, again, gearbox, and then if you want to hit the layout section, this is again a paid feature. And if I want to split the charts up into 2 specific time frames, I'll move this toolbar out of the way. And let's say I'm on the 15-minute here and the 4 hour here, so I can do a little multi-chart analysis here. And then when you go to the settings area, you can hit how you want the charts to be in sync with one another. So let's say the crosshair, if I want it to be on both sides, I'll hit the crosshair button, and now they'll be moving on both sides. You also have the interval, time, and the symbol that you want synced to each other as well. So this is what it would look like with my charts fully annotated and in action as well. I did this analysis today on GBP JPY. It was a 2.24 to 1 risk reward ratio. I had my shorting tool on here. I have that forecasted for 146 pips, 65 pip stop loss, trades in profit right now. If I wanted to measure this out, I'll hit the entry, drag it all the way down to where it's at right now. We're at 36 pips in profit, and this is what it would look like in action. All in all, that is my TradingView breakdown. So hit the like button if you gained any value by this video, and subscribe for more future content. Thank you. Until next time.